Some of my students might join. Okay, okay, okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Indu Saxena, Senior Fellow and Chief Operating Officer at the Consortium of Indo-Pacific Researchers. Welcome to today's book talk. The title of the book we will be discussing is quite significant in the context of the Indo-Pacific geopolitics. The title of the book Is Taiwan a Dangerous Flashpoint? And for this book, we are very pleased to have the author, Lieutenant General Dr. Muhammad Aminul Karim, who has joined us from Dhaka. Welcome, Professor Karim. Uh, in this
Thank you, thank you.
discussion, in this discussion, I'm joining with my colleague, Dr. Lin, who is a fellow at the Consortium of Indo-Pacific Researchers and an associate professor at Charles Sturt University, Canberra. Welcome, Leo. Good to see you after a long time. Before diving into the substance, please allow me to introduce the author of this book, Professor Karim. He is a former professor at the University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, and China Foreign Affairs University, Beijing. He has also served as the chief of both the National Defense College and the Defense Services Command and Staff College of Bangladesh. His areas of interest include geopolitics, international relations, and strategic management. He has published numerous articles, books, and book chapters in many prestigious publishing houses. Nova Science Publishers in New York has published 6 of his books, mostly on geopolitics. Welcome, Professor Karim, and we are very pleased to have you at the Consortium of Indo-Pacific Researchers. And thank you again for writing this important topic. As you know, we are all aware of the recent media discussions regarding the comments made by Sanae Takaichi, Japan's prime minister, and the pressure from China on Japan. And also, there has been a report that President Trump spoke to Xi Jinping regarding this matter. And I read the Professor Karim's book. He mentioned in one chapter about U.S. and Japan alliance, and in fact, he covered most of the topics. That is with the not only with the Taiwan, but with the alliance and how the deterrence in the Indo-Pacific works, and what are the implications of Taiwan's independence and security in the Indo-Pacific. So before taking some questions, I would like to invite Professor Karim to briefly tell us about the book. Why did he write the book? What prompted him to take the topic of Taiwan? And what are the most important facts and most important parts of this in this book, so that our audience can have some view on this topic. Mr. Karim, over to you, please.
Thank you, Dr. Indu. It's always a pleasure meeting you and your famous think tank. And you have been always inviting me in your important sessions, and I always enjoy that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Uh, is it okay? Is my is coming?
Yes.
Sure.
Could you please just move?
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. We can see it now.
just come.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. So I'll just quickly go through my slides. And once again, thank you, Dr. Indu and Dr. Leo, two of the very, I should say, very vibrant and uh, very famous professors on Indo-Pacific matters. And you just mentioned that why did I write this book? What prompted me to write this book? I will just say that I have been writing on Indo-Pacific mostly. I have written a book on Bay of Bengal, on the Rohingya crisis, on the South China Sea, and then and then on Japan, India-China relations, and then this is one of the last is the on Taiwan. So I'll just give you a brief introduction to the book. I'll try to be as brief as possible, but it is a little difficult because Taiwan is a very complex and vexed issue, so to say. And then you have to bring in a lot of dynamics here, especially this Indo-Pacific and the Asia-Pacific. And there are many flashpoints in this area, like the Malacca Strait, South China Sea, East China Sea, Bay of Bengal, Taiwan, and the Korean Peninsula, and so on, Japan, and so on and so forth. So those have to be all tangled together and put into this book. I had spent about 1.5 years to write this book, and Nova Science Publishers was very kind enough to publish this. I'm grateful to that Nova Science. I basically talked about different flashpoints in this region and the brief history of the Taiwan issue, geopolitical significance of Taiwan island and its strait, and then the documents that have been signed mostly between China and America that started in 1971. We had 1972 Shanghai Communique, then 79 Communique, 82 Communique, then 3 no's, and the 6 assurances and Taiwan Relations Act. These are some of the important documents that I have covered in my book. Then I'm talking about a little bit on semiconductor supplies. And I find geopolitics can be intermingled with this, can get intermingled with this. And then I'm trying to draw a lesson from Ukraine-Russia war, and then trying to find out the supply chain disruptions in case of a hot war breaking out between over Taiwan between America and China. Hopefully not. And then Taiwan is the world's one of the largest, as I said, the most dangerous flashpoints. This region serves as the epicenter of the intense Indo-US China strategic rivalry. War in the state would devastate the global supply chain. The book examines the fundamental shift occurring due to this Taiwan issue, and it might disturb the established world order. And this is what it is. This is the Taiwan Strait, and this can be a very dangerous strait. And China is capable of sending its one brigade at a time in amphibious landing if it wants to. Sending one division at a time is a huge task. And this is a turbulent 300-kilometer area, this Taiwan Strait. And the shore is very rocky from military point of view. And then amphibious landing is always risky, and China is getting prepared for that. And Taiwan is the unfinished historical business of China dream, as dreamed by the President Xi Jinping of China. And he wants to put Taiwan together with mainland China, along with Hong Kong and Macau, and then China becomes one whole together. That is his dream. But the United States is committed to maintaining its global preponderance and credibility. Policy has shifted from economic engagement to a stance of strategic competition. US has now officially declared that we are at strategic competition with the US. And then this is called First Island Chain along the South China Sea, and Taiwan is here. This North Korea, this Japan, and these are all the South China Sea and the North China Sea, the Malacca Strait. And China wants to dominate this part of the world with its military. That is his vision. He's almost doing it, I must say that. And it is going forward. It has launched its third aircraft carrier, and it is going for constructing the fourth aircraft carrier. Some of the theories that I have discussed in the book, I will not discuss those, not at all. Structural realism, the Thucydides trap, the security dilemma, offensive realism, power transition theory, balance of power, deterrence theory, and so on and so forth. I'm sure you are all aware of those theories. And then we come to the context of major power competition here. The center of global political gravity has shifted to Asia. That is, Asia is rising. That is the slogan of the day today. And US pivot to Asia strategy that was enunciated by Barack Obama seeks to contain China. I think the policy of containment has been launched against China, not against China. I think it's launched already. You have the Quad and the AUKUS, and India's Axis Asia policy is also a counterweight to China. India is also patrolling the South China Sea these days. There are reports, and Japan has almost abandoned the pacifism to adopt a proactive defense posture. The other day, President Trump said that it has brought some missiles for Japan. First time, not giving to its own military, but is given to China, Japan, and they are conducting joint military drill in the seas and oceans around Japan and Taiwan. Australia is acquiring nuclear-powered submarines to project power in the Indo-Pacific. These are all relevant. You all will get tangled to contain or to put pressure on China. And this is the BRI. China is going strongly. Red color dots you can see strong going with BRI. And then this first island chain and second island chain with South China Sea, and Taiwan. There's a strategic rivalry between United States and China that's going on and building things. Now, the South China Sea involves overlapping and volatile territorial claim. It is the most militarily cluttered sea in the world today. That is what I would try to say. And tension in this China Sea threaten to involve Japan. There are tensions between Japan and South Korea as well. The Malacca Strait remains a critical vulnerability for Chinese energy. If one day's energy is blocked in the Malacca Strait, the entire Chinese nation will come. There will be social instability in the Chinese society if their energy for one day is blocked. That is how it is. I read in a literature like that. North Korea's nuclear programs adds unpredictable volatility to the region. I have discussed all these flashpoints in my book. In fact, a conflict in any of the area triggers a regional explosion. What I'm trying to say here, a problem in Taiwan will envelop the area up to Bay of Bengal, the Malacca Strait, the South China Sea, the East China Sea, Japan, the Taiwan Strait, and Korean Peninsula. So these are all linked up. I'll come to that. There's a concept called a cork in the South China bottle. I'll discuss that. This map, this is South China Sea precisely. The China's claim and the other parties' claim. This is the most volatile region now at the moment. It is cluttered with all military gadgets, both from China and America, and also India, and maybe other powers. Australia may be there also. You never know. The historical roots of the problem, you all know, it started in 1947 when the nationalist power from China moved to Taiwan, and then communist power remained in mainland China. And the United States transferred the China seat to Beijing in 1971 through the diplomacy of Kissinger. And Nixon Kissinger visited China 71, and then the diplomatic relations with Taiwan was severe, and it established diplomatic relations with mainland China. It got a seat in the UN Security Council, or even UN body. So long it was held by Taiwan, but now China got it. And then Taiwan was totally sidelined. And then mutual defense treaty that America with Taiwan was shelved. And then Taiwan transition from military martial law to a vibrant democracy. Taiwan today is a vibrant democracy, and that is what is the ideological difference. Taiwan is democratic, on the other hand, China is authoritarian, as the people say. So the Chinese concept of one country, two systems are probably failing in Taiwan. That is what I'm trying to conclude in my book, and what I say is there are historical grievances, and the legacy of Japanese colonialism still influences Taiwan's distinct cultural identity. And young generation is looking for democracy. So there is an identity crisis, so to say. Younger generation identifies almost exclusively as Taiwanese, younger one as democratic. Democratic values are now inseparable from the island's national identity. Resistance to any form of political unification is hardening rapidly. Identity politics makes peaceful unification and almost impossible. There are two poles apart. Democracy and authoritarianism, they do not go together. So there's a big challenge coming up for China to the dream of President Xi Jinping. Then, as I said, if China wants to control the first island chain, that line that I had shown you that in my map, this island controls the gateway to deep Western Pacific. If China is controlled, East China Sea can be controlled, South China Sea can be controlled, Malacca Strait can also control. So both America and China would like to have control over South China Sea. Also for submarine warfare, for China, Taiwan is very important. Losing Taiwan would force US defense back to Guam and Hawaii. So America has to go back to Guam and Hawaii if it loses the control of Taiwan. So this is a very serious matter, and it is a real flashpoint. It's a delicate balance of strategic ambiguity. America has accepted the One China principle in 1972 Shanghai Communique, also in 1978 Communique, 1982 Communique, and 1970 the Thailand Relations Act passed by the US Congress, which is a one country show that should not apply on international relations. But anyway, America is a big power; they can go for any kind of maneuver. Now, Taiwan Relations Act is a binding domestic law. It was passed by US Congress, and 3 no's was communicated by President Clinton in 1917, 97, and 98. It was passed to the Chinese that they still follow one China principle. No two Chinas. No one China and one Taiwan. No, something like that. The 3 no's. And then 6 assurances were given by President Reagan to the Taiwanese that we will take care of you and will provide you with defensive weapons and minimum defensive weapons, and will take care of you in times of necessity. And they have a kind of informal diplomatic relation. There is an office, American office in Taipei, and there's a Taiwanese office in America. So they do all kinds of business, trade, education, technological transfer, and all those things. Now, China is going extensively for anti-access and area denial capability on the land and the mainland coast of the China. And this is a big threat, a big deterrence for the American Navy or Marine Corps or the aircraft carrier. And China would like to keep them away from the first island chain. And Taiwan is basically going for this is called porcupine strategy. But it wants to go for this defensive strategy, all forces together. US arms sales, there are many arms sales there. And the other day, Taiwan has, I just read in the newspaper, Taiwan has allocated about $50 billion for purchase of arms from America. The risk of nuclear escalation exists if a conventional outcome fails, and the potential of US-Japanese military intervention is always there. And I'm sure if there is a war, hot war, Japan and America will come together. By all means, they're the most allied ally of the world today. And then we have Taiwan produce. Now I come to the semiconductor geopolitics. This is a special area that I have covered in my book. I've given a special chapter on this because I thought semiconductor is going to determine the geopolitics of this region, because geopolitics is of very importance in terms of chips design, semiconductor, aeroplanes, computers, and chips, and so on and so forth. Military equipment. Now, TSMC is the most critical company of the global economy. It produces the semiconductor, and this is there in Taiwan. It has the largest foundry. And the silicon shell theory suggests the chip dominance data is a Chinese invasion. China would like to get hold of it without fighting a war. America also would like to have full control on that foundry. Both the US and China are frantically seeking domestic chip independence. China is going for extensive chip production or the semiconductor production. On the other hand, America is investing a lot of money in Arizona, and Taiwan is providing technical support. They have already gone for it. So in a kinetic war, there will be a crash of the entire global industry. If there is a war, of this industry will be totally crashed, and the world will be in a deep problem. There is huge supply chain problem, and this will go to economic disruption. The financial cost of war would far exceed the Ukraine war impacts. Global supply chains would shatter, causing a worldwide economic depression. Trillions of dollars in economic losses are projected by financial experts. Now, there's a term called mutual economic destruction. If you destroy your economy, each other, this is called interdependence. Interdependence generally deter war, generally, like the mutually assured destruction in terms of nuclear weapon. And I hope there's not a war like this. The entire global supply chain will be totally disrupted. Trade routes will be disrupted. It will be cataclysmic, and I don't know what is going to happen ultimately. Now, conflict could be unfolding in a scenario one involves a maritime blockade to strangle the island economy. The China can blockade the entire island. In that case, export and import to Japan will be blocked. Export and import to South Korea will be blocked. And then China will control the entire export from South China Sea, East China Sea, and then up to the mainland China. Scenario B could be involved in a full-scale bloody amphibious invasion, as I talked about that. China is now capable of, landing one division of troops along with this heavy equipment along the 300-kilometer Taiwan Strait to amphibious land, and that land is very rocky and mountainous. And Taiwanese defense will be ready for that. United States is highly unlikely to intervene militarily, highly likely, not unlikely actually, to defend Taiwan. Scenario C can be gray zone coercion and massive cyber warfare attack infrastructure. Gray zone is you create all kind of nuisance, cyber attack, and then launch some missiles, launch some aircraft, go for blockade, and cyber warfare and all such things. This is gray warfare. These are three scenarios that I painted in my book, and also I have given a simulation exercise outcome. It was done by, I think, Rhodium company in America, and they said they have concluded that in case of a hot war, there is a war, China might lose, but America might win. But America's state of military will be similar as that of Chinese military. So it will be all lose-lose outcome. So many simulations were conducted by that company, and they have come to this conclusion. I have mentioned that in my book, added that in my book. And then we have, I have two scenario here. Is a China-US war over Taiwan inevitable? Let's see, it is inevitable, so to say. Argument suggesting war is likely. China's power transition challenge is reaching its peak. Hegemonic tension is unavoidable. China is going very strong technologically, militarily. It is going for generation fifth aircraft. Many submarines. It has already launched the third aircraft carrier. The fourth aircraft carrier is already in the dockyard under construction. And nationalism in Beijing, Washington, and Taipei leaves little room for compromise. I think nationalism is going to create a big problem, and there's a strong jingoistic nationalism between China and Japan as well. PLH modernization and A2, and as I said, anti-access and all those network railroads, US operational access. But US is continuously conducting surveillance, intelligence surveillance along the main coast of China. That is again threatening, dangerous. Taiwan's identity shift towards Taiwanese only undermines peaceful unification narratives. That 1992 consensus between Taiwan and China is no more probably valid. With new president elected, he is totally pro-Taiwanese and pro-independence type. No more that President Ma is there who was trying for a unification. That trend is gone. But there is a strategic ambiguity both with China and America. Both are giving deterrence, so that there is no, China does not declare unilateral declaration of independence. Both America wants that keep quiet, status quo. China also says keep quiet, don't talk anything more than that. No, don't talk about independence. So there is a strategic ambiguity for both sides, and both are applying this deterrence against China, against Taiwan. Sorry. And what is like I said, arguments against the war, economic interdependence, always, as I said, it deters war. It's a very good mechanism, and America and China are totally interdependent, but then tariff might create problem. imposition of high tariff by Americans might create problem. Nuclear deterrence will still, as I said, works. It caps escalation and forces caution. Key US allies prefer restraint over open conflict like Japan, Australia, and India. Back channel diplomacy and crisis management mechanisms are still functioning. There is a hotline between at the political level and also a hotline operating between Chinese military and American military. I think it's just developed the other day. China's long-term strategy, it aims for 2049 when China gains 100 years of its independence, and Chinese dream will be then unfolded, and China might go and uh, you know challenge the American power worldwide. That is the forecast. That is what is the researchers say. And then any war outcome would result in a lose-lose situation that I talked about it. Maintaining the status quo is the preferred option for stability. Deterrence is currently holding, but is becoming increasingly difficult and unstable. Deterrence may not hold good. A peaceful resolution remains highly difficult, mm, extremely difficult, because there's a large-scale competition, both in trade, commerce, military, diplomacy, and then this BRI, and then Quad and AUKUS and China-India rivalry. You can go for anything. Now, diplomacy might fail, may not be work, may not work. It's still working, still holding. The world must prepare for a long period of tension in case there is a war, hot war breaking out. Hopefully not in near future. That's my assessment. Thank you very much for your patient hearing, and thank you, Indu, for so much. And then, how do I go out? Oh, it stops sharing, huh? Okay. Thank you very much for giving your patient hearing. Indu, thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Professor
much.
Karim. Thank you so much for this very insightful and informative presentation. You almost covered all the topics, and I hope our audience have a bit sense of what's the Taiwan matter and how it is impacting the geopolitics. To begin with, I have few questions, then I would like to invite Dr. Leo for, and then we will take the audience questions. Please, the audience here, type your, you can put your questions in the chat box. We will take it from there, as we have a time limits and the time constraints for this discussion. But you all know that this discussion is so important. While you are sitting in the South Asia, and you have also the sense of this power politics and the US-China competition, and regarding what's Taiwan issue, how is unfolding. Professor Karim, just want to know, curious, while looking at your presentation, US-Japan alliance, a treaty alliance, and iron, that we say the ironclad alliance, but have the different views on Taiwan contingency. Recently, we saw what the Japanese Prime Minister already earlier mentioned. Her remarks was not taken very well, and in the Washington, where the President Trump has to spoke, he had to spoke to Xi Jinping, but not that much details are disclosed. What they talked, what was the point? But I guess President Trump doesn't want to bring the Taiwan issue when U.S.-China trades. They are compromising on some of the trade issues. How do you see that this alliance, treaty alliance, on Taiwan matter?
Yeah. Uh, uh, to the best of my understanding, US cannot afford to compromise on losing Taiwan, as China cannot afford to, because, as I said, Taiwan is the nerve center in controlling. What is gone? Why is this coming? Some picture. Indo, are you here?
Yeah, yes, sir. Please go
Oh,
ahead.
there's some disruption. Yeah. Japan and America has a hub and spoke alliance, as I said. And in the last APEC meeting in Korea, South Korea, in November this year, they discussed mostly the trade issues, the tariff imposed, and they have settled quite a bit. They have improved quite a bit on that. And but Taiwan issue will remain alive because Taiwan is an area from where US can get a lot of intelligence on mainland China. Militarily very important area. This militarily very important area for both Japan, Australia, and USA. And the Quad grouping has come up. And then China also not like to give up the claim on Taiwan because they think this is integral part of their mainland. And they want to fulfill the Chinese dream. And America has some special forces stationed in Taiwan to train the Taiwanese forces. And they are getting the state-of-the-art aircraft. They might get the F-35 still the aircraft from America someday. They have a lot of missiles. They have a lot of petroleum aircraft, and they are getting a lot of submarines. Taiwan is building its own submarine now. That's again serious. Yes, Taiwan has already got its own submarines, indigenously built. It is diesel driven, and I don't think the temperature or heat will come down so soon. It will start boiling. And Japan and America is conducting joint military drill meant for keeping Taiwan liberated and taking on the Chinese militarily. Yeah, so that's very clear. I think China will not compromise because Xi Jinping's leadership will be challenged, and Communist Party of China will be totally under extinct in case they compromise on Taiwan. I think that's their historical political philosophy on which they cannot compromise. And communists are very rigid on such stance. That's how I look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well noted, sir. And you mentioned that China's ambitions in for 2049. That's China's 100th anniversary. And also we know about India's vision of 2047. So do you see this in this ambition and vision there will be the cooperation or the confrontations looking at India and China, though India is not being a Quad member, India is not India doesn't want to align with any power with the treaty or otherwise because India still wants to hold the strategic autonomy, or we can say non-alignment principles.
Yeah, China has given two milestone time date. One is 235. By that time, China wants to become the most modern country of the world. They're only underway. And then be modern and prosperous in all aspects: social, economic, trade and commerce, and military, as well, education, you name it, and technology. They are going extensively for acquiring the latest technology, AI and semi-conductor and so on and so forth. And 249, I have read in some of the books and literature and pamphlets that China is going to complete the Chinese dream. The entire Chinese society is strong enough to challenge the American preponderance. That is their dream. And this is the dream of the Chinese Communist Party. And President Xi Jinping wants to become the world leader. That is what is his ambition. And I don't think he's going to compromise on that. And India-China relation at the moment is improving. There is a good thaw, I would say. And but India is officially still a member of the Quad. Four of them: India, Japan, Australia, and America. And AUKUS is joining, where the UK and France also will join with their nuclear-powered submarines, and so on and so forth. I hope that South Asia becomes quieter. If China, India can come to some kind of sort of, what should I say, understanding, then then take on Pakistan India problem, South Asia can be a better place to live. But I don't think over Taiwan there is going to be any let up. I don't think so. I would tend to think like that. And South Asia has a long way to go to have a free trade area or better connectivity and BCIM. Now India has opted out of of BRI, is no more a member of BRI. But I think the Indian foreign minister visited China the other day, and they met in the APEC summit, Narendra Modi and Xi Jinping in South Korea. These are some good developments, and border is generally quiet at the moment in South Asia. Let's see. And 249 is the deadline, and India is also going up. It is the third or fourth largest economy already. I think third largest economy already, third or fourth. Yeah, Japan is second. Yeah, fourth. And next one is Indonesia coming up in the line, in the queue. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Indu.
Now I would like to invite Dr. Leo for the next questions. Leo, over to you, please.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Indu. Thank you for the kind invitation to this very important book talk. And thank you, Professor Karim, for your presentation and your excellent book. And that's very well written. And then, well, I've read it. And well, if I may, I would like to point out a couple of strong points that I read from the book. First of all, I think that the topic is very timely, and then the analysis is very multi-dimensional, and that's very crucial because the issue of Taiwan is per se very um, critical and also very complex, given its geopolitical standoff of the current decades. And Professor, in your book, you successfully moves beyond a purely military analysis to incorporate a broader scope like geoeconomy, and that's very important for the in the discussion of Taiwan. Especially you mentioned the role of semiconductor industry, which adds necessary depth to the traditional security discourse that is very current, and then that's a very timely topic as well. And the second strong point that I think is the theoretical grounding. I think you does an excellent job of applying established international relation theories such as realism, deterrence, and complex interdependence. So those theories to the specific context of Taiwan Strait. This helps the readers understand the current, not only the current events, but it adds the ex, explanatory power to the various incidents that is happened or that has happened recently. And the third one, I think, is the balanced perspective that your book um, has brought about. While you acknowledge the dominance of US and the rise of China, that is the great power politics, your book also attempts to navigate the perspective of multiple stakeholders, including regional powers like Japan, Australia, where currently I'm located in from Canberra, and also internal identity politics of Taiwan itself. So I think uh, while looking at the issue of Taiwan, we not only have to explain the response by the theory of neo-realism, but also I think neoclassical realism also provides very good insight in looking at the unit level analysis, domestic politics, the state and society relationship. That also explains how and why Taiwan responded international stimuli in certain ways. So those are very important. Like on especially, I would like to mention. I think that's um, really excellent read from my end is chapter 11. Is uh, so I personally participated a number of tabletop exercise in Taipei, hosted by various by government by national exercise and very official for coders to simulate possible scenarios. So those are my comments to your excellent book. For my questions, my first question is that in your book you mentioned that deterrence is so far working well. So, well, this is a question for you. Um, do you think the current U.S. strategy on Taiwan, the strategy, do you think that can continue as a deterrent, or do you think it is going to be a very accelerate Beijing's terminal invasion, even the deadline? But do you think because the one the deadline can be uh, shortened? That's
Professor Karim,
I think
you
there's
can
some problem.
yeah, this is voice is breaking, but you can. I hope you understand the answer. He's just asking about the deterrence. Is the deterrence working well up to now? But what do you see in the next, in the coming time, the how the deterrence will work in the Taiwan issue?
Yeah, deterrence will melt. That it is so far it is okay, but henceforth I think the effect of deterrence will start decreasing. Uh, because of the Taiwanese pro-independence forces are very strong. Taiwanese young people are looking for democratic principles, and China is growing militarily, economically. American forces are also stronger, and Japan is coming in. Quad has been formed. The BRI is going very strong, and then China might fail for peaceful unification, and that might or there's a probability of an accidental war between Taiwan and mainland China. So deterrence might get mellowed down somewhat as the years move on till 240 or 245. Maybe there may be an outbreak of a war possibility. So deterrence will slowly be mellowed down, hopefully gradually. But so far it is working well. I'm happy about that. Okay. So good question. Very good question. I think I have answered that in my slideshow, but I couldn't discuss it much. Why I'm saying so, I'll give an example. No, I'm giving an example from the book. China is saying, do not declare independence. America is saying, resolve the problem by peaceful means, which is not is not possible. And China is saying, if you declare independence, I'm going to attack you militarily. So this is the deterrence which is working at the moment. But this may not last long, because if China becomes overbearing in military power someday, then this deterrence might fail, might fail. And then in case they find American troops are out of the first island chain, China may take the chance of attacking militarily. But militarily attacking Taiwan is also not a good option for for China. They'll not be able to hold on. There will be big loss for the Chinese military. And so I don't know. Let's see what the Communist Party is going to do about it. But deterrence, the value of deterrence is slowly, gradually decreasing. That's how I look at it. Very good question by Professor Leo. Very strong question, very tough question for me.
Thank you, Dr. Karim. Leo, you want to go ahead, please?
Thank you. Well, let me turn off my camera because I think my reception is not stable. I think it will work better now. So
It's better
Professor
now.
Karim, what you mentioned, or my second question is about semiconductor industry. You mentioned, well, in your book, you discusses TSMC as a silicon shield. So if one in your book you discuss about currently 90% of the computer chips were produced from Taiwan. That is a very important strategic instrument for Taiwan per se, in regards to the diplomatic on well current geopolitical situation. So do you think if the world become less dependent on Taiwanese chips, does the likelihood of conflict increase or decrease?
That's a very tough question. I'm a non-technical person, but anyway, I'll make a try. I'll try to answer that. At the moment, it's a geopolitical context. TSMC, because Taiwan is producing between 80 to 90% of the best possible chips available in the world. And China is nowhere near to it. I mean, even America is nowhere to it. And without this supply, the world economy will be at stake. The aircraft, the chips, the motorcycle, the cars and motorbikes and so on and so forth. Now, it will take a long time for China to come to that stage. American and Taiwan, they are allied. They have already established a plant in Arizona in the United States. And China is trying, investing a lot of money, but it will take a long time. Even South Korea has started doing that, manufacturing the semiconductors. But China produces the best possible chips available in the world. I think I have my son here who is an expert on chips design and semiconductor. I will invite him after your talk to give a good reply on that. He works in the Leonardo Defense Organization. But if the semiconductor, if they overtake, then yes, yeah, you are right. The deterrence will decrease. Deterrence will decrease. If China becomes self-sufficient in chips design and semiconductor industry, then deterrence will decrease, of course, by all means. Now they want to they don't want to destroy that foundry, the largest foundry that TSMC has in the whole world. They don't want to destroy that, and that's a kind of deterrence working. So if China becomes self-sufficient or has enough of them, it may not allow uh, uh, you know the destruction of that largest foundry that we have in the world. That is how I look at it. Thank you. Leo, your questions
Well,
are very pointed questions. Very good.
thank you, Professor Karim. So I'll stop here. Turn it over to you, Dr. Indu, because I saw audience have some questions.
And thank you very
Thank you.
much for your very good words about my book. I'm so happy. I'm feeling so humble and so privileged and so honored. And you are an expert on the subject that I can feel it. We'll be in contact. We'll work on it together for further research.
Well,
Thank you,
thank
Leo.
you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Professor Karim. Oh, it's an honor to read your book, and then well, I look forward to interact with you in the future. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Indu.
Thank you, Leo. Now, Professor Karim, we have the two questions from the audience. One is related to Bangladesh. How the Bangladesh will be impacted due to the all-out war between China and Taiwan, and along with this, she's like the Mansoura Amdad. She's lecturer from Department of International Relations, University of Dhaka. And what are the possible steps of Bangladesh to consider early in the case of possible supply chain blockade in the Strait of Malacca. So I just want you a brief note on this, and then we have the another questions from the audience. So I would be happy to take that question too after that.
Thank you, Mansoor. I know her. I know she's a lecturer at Dhaka University. Yeah, she's a very bright teacher there. Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. In case of a Taiwan war, Bangladesh will be affected because the supply chain starts from the Persian Gulf to Arabian Sea to the Bay of Bengal to Bangladesh. It goes south of Bangladesh, then Malacca Strait, South China Sea, and then Taiwan, Japan, and so on and so forth. Now, the Malacca Strait will be blocked in case of a war in Taiwan by the Americans, by the Western powers, Australia, Quad members. In case it is blocked, this will create a big problem. Bangladesh imports most of its product from outside, except our agriculture. Mostly, the rest of the things we all buy from outside. So, Bangladesh will be very badly affected, and then supply chain will definitely hamper us because we get our merchandise both from the Southeast Asia and also from Middle East. Energy will be badly affected. Bay of Bengal will have a ripple effect from the South China Sea, and as I said, Malacca Strait will be blocked, and China will be very furious on that. And China will have another frontier towards the Indian Ocean or the Bay of Bengal, and things will be a little difficult for Bangladesh. Not difficult; it will be existential threat for Bangladesh, so to say. So we should be prepared for such an eventuality. I hope such a war will not break out. A hot war will not break out. I hope so. It will be very totally terrible, cataclysmic, as I said. So we should be careful about that. Is Mansura is okay? Mansura, have I said you are happy?
Salam, sir. I hope you're all right. Sorry for just barging in like that. My query was a bit on the other side that in the case of a possible breakout of conflict, what should be our stance? That was the first question. And the second one is that what are the alternatives we can consider during this kind of a possible blockade? You have talked about the wargaming scenarios. I took my notion from there. In case of a possible conflict, what are the other alternatives that we can think in terms of our energy security, in terms of our trade, and of course, in terms of our general geopolitical aspects of security? That is where I'm trying to draw the attention. Thank you very much for rightly pointing out that this is going to be a rather problematic scenario for us. And of course, your entire presentation, I would like to congratulate you on the presentation as well as the book. But these are the queries that immediately came to mind when you were elaborating on the issues. Thank you very much, sir.
The only answer I can say is that, as I said, that our onshore resources are very scanty. We have some bit of gas, no energy. Even food we have to import. Energy we have to import in a big way. Name anything, even fruits we import from outside. We have two sea lines of communication. One is going to the Southeast Asia, the other is going to the Middle East. And Bay of Bengal will be affected militarily as well. Indian military Navy will be very strong here. Chinese military submarines also will be patrolling this part. Now, Bangladesh has to improve its economy. That's how I can see it. Be self-sufficient in agriculture as much as possible. Be self-sufficient in most of the products as much as possible. We can probably maintain some bit of export of our RMG towards the west. Well, that will be a very dangerous scenario. Let's not think so seriously about it. Life, we'll manage it there. But we are too small, and if India cooperates, we can get it by land. We can get our energy from through Pakistan, India, and then to Bangladesh and other resources. If we have some kind of connectivity, land connectivity, Bangladesh, that we have already, but only through political problem, political decision problem. So if that can be tackled, I think we can then have energy from Iran or from Saudi Arabia by land as well, or from Pakistan. Like, Pakistan and China has a land corridor, the CPEC to Kashgar. We don't have it like that, but I'm sure things will work out and China will help us in a big way.
Thank you very much,
And
sir.
India
Much
also
appreciated.
should come forward. I can't think of a very serious consequence that we may face. I hope we don't face that. But we have to build our own strength, self-contained
That's
economy, and have a strong reserve of energy as much as possible. Say for a 3-4 months. I don't think the war is going to last so long. So if you have a reserve for 6 months energy, and then we can somehow manage it. We'll find a way out. We can have direct, or we can have a link to China through Bhutan, Nepal, and then to China. China can also help us, or even airdrop things to us if they want to. That can be thought of.
Professor
That can be thought of.
Karim, as we are running out of time, I just want to bring some other questions from the audience. That one is on strategic ambiguity, that among the three communique you mentioned, examined in your book, which one is the most to contribute to the strategic ambiguity, and what do you think that strategic ambiguity is a stabilizing factor, or it has gradually become counterproductive in managing the Taiwan relationship? And after that, I just want to read the question, because if you can draw a parallel between the conflict in China, Taiwan, and the Russia-Ukraine. So after these, taking the answers from you, we will see if we have more time or we have to wrap it up, this session. Over to you, Professor Karim.
Yeah, the ambiguities here is on, American principle in writing had accepted that China is inseparable. It is one state in the 1972 communique, in 78 communique, and they established full length and total diplomatic relations between China and America, and it severed it from Taiwan. And then there was a 1982 communique that also said that we believe in one China policy, but in the year I think 78 or 79, I think that Taiwan Relations Act was promulgated by US Congress, which in principle impliedly violates the one China principle. That's how I look at it. And this is passed by the US Congress. This cannot be applied internationally. That's how I look at it. So that has created an ambiguity. That's correct. And this is also kind of China is suffering from strategic ambiguity, as well as America is suffering from strategic ambiguity. And this is also kind of deterrence. It is adding to deterrence value. But TRA is not, they mention in the TRA, they say that we will provide defensive weapons to Taiwan. That's very ambiguous. Tank is a weapon which can be used both for defense and offense. And fighter aircraft can be used both for offense and defense. So how do you qualify and quantify which is defensive weapon? So they are providing the, what is that? F-16 aircraft to Taiwan, or say they provide the F-35. These are all very, very, very offensive weapons. And Taiwan is now going for submarine, indigenously building the submarine, manufacturing the submarines. So this some vagueness. And sorry, Taiwan cannot establish diplomatic relations because Taiwan is not a member of UN anymore. So you have to follow the rules-based order, UN order. And at times, China has accepted Taiwan to be a member of the APEC. That's fine. But they do not like any military or diplomatic relations with Taiwan. That goes against the principle of one China policy as agreed in 1972 communique and 79 communique, 82 communique. And then the 6 assurances were given to this other ambiguity. 6 assurances were given to the Taiwanese by President Reagan, I think. And they said that we'll take care of you, not to worry. We'll help you in all possible way. So these are the TRA, and those 6 assurances are, again, the 3 no's, these are contradictory, absolutely contradictory. That's what I have discussed in my book. So that is how it is.
Thank you, Dr. Karim. Before we close today's sessions, I would like to invite Mr. Nisar Karim for his input.
He's my son, actually.
And,
he's an expert on. He's my son. He lives in London. Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, Romel.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure. Go.
I think someone asked a question on semiconductor and its impact. Probably I'll go like this. At this point of time, TSMC, I mean, it plays a very critical role in global military affairs. Primarily, I think it's mainly due to extensive reliance of the US and its allies like NATO on its advanced semiconductor chip for their defense systems. And its reliance has made TSMC a central focus at this point of time when it comes to geopolitics, and especially if anything's pertaining to Taiwan and China, that would I would say. And the Americans estimate that approximately, according to the American estimates, it's like 90% of their munitions, precision-guided munitions, and naval and air force aircrafts, those chips are manufactured by TSMC at this point of time. And it produces more than 95% of world's most advanced chips. Now, when it comes to strategic vulnerability, I think the concentration of advanced chip manufacturing in Taiwan is considered a significant threat or vulnerability for the U.S. military and their allies, and of course, U.S. economy. A possible potential Chinese, I won't say invasion. I better use the word blockade of Taiwan. I think it could disrupt the global supply chain of overnight. And this might cause a semiconductor drought in the future. So that's why TSMC is very significant at this point of time as a foundry. So that's my take on it. I won't comment further on it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr.
He's a
Nisar.
PhD on microchips. He has a PhD on microchips.
Yeah, I design semiconductor chips in a defense company here.
Yeah, so it's a very, your insights are helpful, and I hope we will invite you for our another podcast on semiconductor, because you know that it's a very important topic, and the strategic competition now centered around the chips and semiconductor chips and rare earth materials. Thanks again for speaking a bit for our audience and for us too. And as we are running out of time, Professor Karim, I would say that hopefully we will have another round for this topic, because we have a lot more questions to discuss here, and we would be happy to invite you anytime as per your availability. Thanks again for this insightful and engaging discussion, and I thank you all the audiences for listening, for your patience, and for joining us. If you have interest in the international security relations and the Indo-Pacific, please just go to our website, tune into our YouTube, and we will share this recording on our website and our social media post. Like it and share it. And thank you all for your support.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indu. You have been very, very kind and nice to me. You have been always helpful and very forthcoming. And I'm very proud of your think tank. And we will work together. I have sent a note to Nova, and I'm looking into that problem.
Okay, sure, sir. No worries. You are most
and we'll
welcome.
work together.
Thank you, Leo.
So, good luck and good night and your good morning. So,
Well, thank you,
call it a day.
Dr. Indu, for
Thank you, Dr. Leo. Oh, great. You are a great professor, I tell you. You have a very bright future ahead. I can see that. So nice. You have been so kind. We'll work together.
Professor
I'll take
thank you.
your mail address from Indu. Yeah, we'll work together.
Well,